is the Silver Star Nation Dallas Cowboys Draft Special.
The Dallas Cowboys are welcoming 7 new draft picks to the organization. As Jerry Jones likes to say, they're putting a star on their helmets. Here are the picks. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Cornerback Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama. Defensive tackle Neville Gallimore. Cornerback Reggie Robinson. Center Tyler Biadasz. Defensive end Bradlee Anae. And quarterback Ben DiNucci. Let's welcome in Babe Laufenberg and Mickey Spagnola. Jerry also said this could be their best draft since 2005. Mickey, what are your thoughts on this draft?
Oh, I think they hit a home run. You know, when you go into the draft and you're at number 17, it's hard to plan out exactly what you want to do. But they, as Jerry also said, they had some good fortune. You know, you can sit here and have all the greatest plans in the world, but when you got to wait 16 picks, sometimes those things kind of get messed up. Well, they got very fortunate that a CeeDee Lamb was sitting there waiting for them at 17, and they remained flexible. You know, I think I mentioned when we did the pre-draft special that sometimes need and availability don't always mesh. Well, in this case, availability overtook the need. And they said, you know what, let's follow the board. And I thought that was the greatest thing the Cowboys did through this entire draft. They followed their board and started taking the best player available within reason, right? And I think it worked out. And I don't know that at this point on paper anybody would argue, Babe, that the Cowboys had a really good draft and maybe the best one since 2005.
Yeah, I don't know how it really could have gone any better, Mickey. They got talented players up top and players that they want at those positions. So, Wes, we talked last week on your radio show, and I said, you know, it happens every draft where you say, well, so-and-so won't be there when it comes our turn to pick. And this time, so-and-so turned out to be CeeDee Lamb because they did not think he would be there, and he kind of dropped into their lap. So it was a fantastic draft in my eyes. I think nationally, everybody's given it an A+. And the other thing, as you mentioned, the owner talked about that 2005 draft. They had 2 first-round picks in there and a high second-rounder. So they had 3 picks in the top 42. So to come out of this thing the way they did was fantastic because, again, they had 3 this time at the top 82. Big difference.
Yeah, as you guys mentioned, CeeDee Lamb just kept falling, and what a great surprise for the Cowboys. Babe, now that, you know, you see that, what were you thinking when he was available, and how about this wide receiver core now?
You know what I was thinking? Take him. And they did. And funny, too, because, Wes, I think a lot of times when you say, oh, they had a good draft, it's the people that you would have drafted, right? If you say, oh, a team, fill in the blank, had a bad draft, it's because you wouldn't have taken those people at that spot. But here's one thing I do regret, Mickey. I am a little disappointed that Mike McCarthy retained Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator because after this draft and the weapons that the Cowboys are going to have on offense, I would have liked to apply for that job.
You certainly got that right. And it was funny because the other day, Mike McCarthy said at the end of the press conference that Kellen Moore immediately began tinkering with things, trying to get his offense together. But, Wes, to answer your question, you know, as the draft was going, and I was always thinking, okay, they're going to draft K'Lavon Chaisson, the defensive end from LSU, and he kept falling and falling. And we got through 12 picks, and I'm sitting there marking all the picks down, and I looked and I said, God, they're at 13. I said, I put a question mark on Atlanta, and I said, you know what, if Atlanta doesn't mess this thing up, they're going to get Chaisson. And then, because I didn't think there was any way that CeeDee Lamb was going to fall. Well, then it fell, and it reminded me, I think, of what I told you earlier, or told somebody. I said, you know what, we get seduced by a position. I said, but with the Cowboys, they got so many needs that instead of the numbers up there on my dartboard, I could put a position and blindfolded throw a dart, and whatever I hit, I guarantee you the Cowboys need it. Well, the dart hit the bullseye because CeeDee Lamb, who got his bio up there right on the bullseye, was available. And they had no clue this was going to happen. As a matter of fact, they pointed out, Wes, that when they did all their mock drafts, they didn't even bother putting him in it because they never got to a scenario where they had to make a decision on CeeDee Lamb. But because of that flexibility, they said, best player, the blinking lights going on, he's number 6 on our board, we're grabbing him.
Look closely, you can see the bullseye behind Mickey's head, and on that piece of paper, CeeDee Lamb. Mickey did it. We are just getting started. Coming up next, we'll take a look at day 2. The Cowboys address some defensive needs with a corner and a tackle. You are watching the Silver Star Nation post-draft special.
This is the Silver Star Nation Dallas Cowboys Draft Special.